Hello everybody, DarkPhoenix 1992 here, and welcome back to Let's Play Tyranny. Now, you will have noticed that we are in a different place this time. And, you see, the reason behind that is, I decided after the end of the last recording session, I would do a little off-camera stuff. Go back and visit some old areas, and see if I couldn't find some more loot. And I ended up in this place, which struck me as being somewhat significant, so I immediately whacked on record and started recording this. And as it turns out, the answer is yes. The place is significant. It's one of those towers, but as I was saying, we found quite a few rather interesting things during the course of our journey. And there's a very specific one I wanted to have a look at. Let's see if I can't find it. Ah yes, here we go. Dauntless. Which is actually a sword of the Unbroken. Actually a legendary blade of the Unbroken, who, if you remember, are the rebels that we are currently fighting against. And also, while we're at it, I'm going to switch out some of the equipment stuff my party members are wielding. Eb has her generic freezing thing there. I am going to give her the Staff of Boreal Frost instead. You can mess around with that a little. As for Barrick, we can maybe give him some better sword and shield. Let's see. I'm going to give him Stubborn Aegis, even though it will reduce his dodging a little bit. He's not really going to be doing any dodging, so that doesn't matter. And let's see, Eric, do we have a better sword than your disfavored iron one? We will shortly find out. Well, you can replace your others. I take that back. No, you will not be replacing your other sword with that, Tiberius. Your armor, on the other hand, is a maybe. See. Light leather vest. Have one of those. Scavenge your boots. Yes. Light leather gloves. Your helmet. Let's see. Iron Ridge. Hell no. You know, those instead because they're apparently slightly better. Okay. That's about as good as you're getting for gear. Barrack. Barrack, barrack, barrack. We don't have swords that are better, but those are all less armor penetrating. What the hell? Have it. And for your second weapon set, I'll give you a two-hander. Just in case we feel like changing it up with you. Lantry. I don't think you want to have any of our stuff. Now, we haven't unlocked a third or fourth type weapon slot, so table that idea. Also going to dump all potions there. That particular setup. Imp can have two. I'm gonna have to do a bunch of buying and selling of potions before we go back after that region. But I like our setup now a hell of a lot better. Also, camping supply to remove those damn wounds. We've been wounded long enough, I think. And I'm saving. And I see something over here we can look at. And events. Chamber immediately reminds you of Ascension Hall. An intricate ruin running along the floor can only mean one thing. Stand at the feet of a great spire. Each step you take goes across a great distance. As you gaze upward, the sage-colored walls quickly give way to unending blackness. The rune in the center of the floor is inactive, and the silence of the hall offers no clues as to its use or function. Feel a slight tug in your chest, a faint echo of the energy that enveloped you at Vendrian's Well. Hold a moment. Ventry bellows the command louder than needed, smiling as he hears his voice echo throughout the massive chamber. If my sense of direction is at all reasonable, we are standing below the Spire in this region. Well, what do you know about the Spires? Lantry raises an eyebrow. About as much as you, I'm afraid. Until our time at Vendrian's Well, I didn't realize there were ways to access the upper reaches. Speaking of which, I'm certain there's a way to access the top of this spire as well. Keep our eyes out for sigils or glyphs nearby. Well, what do you recommend? I'd start with the grooves and stones on the floor over there. It's like the spire at Vendrian's Well. Whoever built this created a mystical conduit to the top, and I think it very unlikely that the pattern is purely decorative. Well, let's keep going then. And give this thing a little rubbing. And we capture a blurry but proportionate image of the ancient relief. Fills in the remaining gaps on the scroll and gives us a clear representation. And that should have something to do with it. Okay. Where is it? Charcoal rubbing. And also I want to mention this before I forget, we did find another rather interesting thing that I didn't manage to turn on the recording for from when we were looking around in Sentinel's stand. And basically the long and short of it is that the Scarlet Chorus have been passing information to the enemy. And they're the reason why the Unbroken had as much information as they did. On the disfavored's attack, I mean. And let's see if I can't get this right. Just Tiberius, though? See. I think I may have messed this up. Oh well. Trying to match the pattern that's on there. And I'm not particularly good with puzzles, even ones this straightforward, so it's going to take a little bit of time. Or, wait a minute. I'm doing this upside down, aren't I? The part that I thought was the bottom is actually the top. Or, damn it, I have no idea what I'm even supposed to be doing. Except that I have to match this to this thing right here. I'll do this center bit first. And see if I can't get this whole thing, because, as I said, I'm shit with puzzles, so yeah. Or not. I messed it up again. Alrighty.
Right. On it.
It does not look like I'm gonna be able to do that the way I was trying to. Let's see. They're both supposed to converge like this, and then go out a little further, is it? So we will see. That did not work. Not even slightly. Let's try this again. And I got it. This spire is now active, but just in case there's some horrific monster waiting up above for us to emerge so it can eat us, I'm going to save the game before we head up. Now let's go.
Yes.
Welcome everyone
On it.
to our new place. We have acquired a second spire. They're linked and allow travel between them. We can upgrade them by building new structures. Each upgrade will provide us with different benefits. Like the spire icon, or press H to do new upgrades. Upgrades take time and money to build and maintain. Scrolls, iron ingots, bronze ingots, alchemy supplies, and hide can be used for upgrades. Okay. The arcane light courses skyward, trailing off toward the horizon in the direction of Vendrian's well. You feel the ground ripped out from beneath you yet again as you drift back into the warmth of the energy surrounding you. Your awareness stretches beyond the limits of this spire, pulling in many directions at once. The light you saw arcing through the sky reminds you of the tether you feel to the top of Vendrian's well. This too is a point of connection, and you are an inextricable part of it, bound as surely as the spires are to each other. The ocean spire in the Blade Grave feels weathered and battered, like a flag that has whipped in the high winds beyond its intended duration. Perhaps in spite of this, the connection formed with Vendrian's well is strong, almost overwhelmingly so. I was at the front lines during the devastation of Stalwart. From on high, the realm feels less significant. Absolutely brilliant. Me and every other sailor use this spire as our go-to for a dead reckoning. I've seen this spire from sea 1,000 times, but I've only daydreamed I'd see the view the other way around, and it's so much better than I imagined. Yeah, ain't it just, Step? Ain't it just? There was a running wager at the Vellum Citadel. How far southwest can one sail before reaching the end of the ocean? From here, I'd guess forever is close to the right answer. Looking out at the expanse of ocean to the south, Lantry moves his quill in a harried rush. He sketches the blue-green panorama. The spire feels like a relay between you and Vendrian's well, bridging some transference of energy on an enormous scale. You are the first link of a chain that stretches the length of the realm. As you struggle to understand this sensation, you grow aware of whispers all around you. And we are going to listen closer to the whispers. We will not try to repress it. The whispers themselves seem to travel down the tether between you and your spires, conducting heat that feels at times unbearable. They speak of your actions, your choices, everything that led you to this place. Your name is known, your banner recognized, your deeds reported across the tiers and the Northern Empire alike. For an instant, you can see the accumulated hope and fear these whispers represent. It appears like dewdrops settling on a leaf, then trickling into a shared basin. The image is fed to you through your connection, a base metaphor that only hints at the true scope. There is power in these spires, though its source is unfamiliar. Were you to harness it, you suspect that nothing would stand beyond your reach. Yes, indeed. I do not know what this feeling is, but I rather like it. Don't know what you've done, but standing near you warms my rusted plate. Makes me feel lighter somehow. On the moments my staff and I are separated, part of its magic goes dormant until I'm once again near. That same dynamic is happening with you and the Spires. They've adopted you, I guess. They certainly like you enough not to kick you out of bed. Oh wow, I love Ebb, I really do. And I've mentioned this before, but Ebb is absolutely my favorite character in this game so far. Ironic considering we met her when we were fighting on opposite sides and trying to kill her. Curious, I'm noting something. And I also observed at the Spire in Vendrian as well. There's a mystic hum, and it has little beats when you walk, tiny fluctuations when you talk. Unless my senses are deceiving me, you and the Spires are mystically attuned to each other. Most fascinating indeed. A quill pen appears in his hand, and the old sage begins furiously jotting notes on his arm. And there are apparently 3 other spires we have yet to discover. As well as some upgrades to make. Bronze rings. I am going to now upgrade my spire a few times. We will first build us a library. And that gains us the achievement, Some Assembly Required. New message. What is this? We've received a missive, apparently. On the subject of the spires. My dear Tiberius, the court is all abuzz with the news of the Civil War. Representatives from the chorus and the disfavored are having little shouting matches in front of Tunon. Petitioners to the court seem swept up in talks of who will crush whom, and if and when Tunon will bring down the gavel and stop the fighting. What has me more intrigued is the other story out of Vendrian's Well. Tunon sends you on what I thought was going to be a one-way trip to the well, and not only do you live, you somehow claimed the mountain spire, and you broke Kairos' edict too. Such things make a little civil war seem so trivial in comparison, at least to those who can separate the message from the noise. Tell me, what was it like to break the edict, and how is it you took control of the spire? Fatefinder Rogalis. Well, it appears this information is fairly well known in the court by now, and we're replying to a fellow Fatebinder, so I'm going to give the best explanation I possibly can, I think. Well, actually, I'm going to look at what each of them say first. Let's see. An agent of the Overlord. Dear Regalis, Kairos' edict simply said that an agent of the Overlord must claim Ascension Hall before Kairos' Day of Swords. The only thing I consciously did was take charge of the battle to claim Ascension Hall. My claiming of the Spire happened just moments after I felt the edict's grip release. The floor of Ascension Hall gave way, unearthing a glowing pattern buried beneath the chamber floor. Kairos only knows how long it's been buried under the tile. As for how I actually claimed the Spire, it is perhaps a mutual bond. Atop the Spire is an old structure, a twin-tined edifice. I'll include a sketch on the back of the parchment. The structure spoke to me in sensations and images, and it seemed to respond to my presence in some limited capacity. That is what happened, as best I can think to describe it. Does any of this sound familiar, or bring to mind any old stories or rumors? I'm going to check what else. I don't like this one because it seems kind of like we're accusing him of something, so no, I won't say that. Downplay. Usually quite difficult to give me too much credit, but it seems like you're implying my claim on the Spire was premeditated or even intentional. My only goal was to stay alive, to not let the Archon's indecision cause the Edict of Execution to come to pass. Ascension Hall needed to be taken, and I made it happen. Both because it was my duty and because I generally prefer to live. My claim on the Spire coincided with the breaking of said edict. Once breaking the edict caused a mystic surge, it triggered the Spire, or perhaps Kairos knew this would happen, and such knowledge tempered the wording of the edict. I can offer you only these speculations. No. We are going to explain the experience as best we can. We are writing to one of our fellow Fatebinders, after all, and we have no reason to be anything less than honest towards someone we're actually working with. So we'll be straightforward with him and send that. The missive is in transit. Correspondence course achievement. That library will be done in about 5 days, it looks like. Or our maintenance costs will be 2 bronze rings and 50 copper rings.